What up, kid folk? It's your boy Screwface Capone in the house. It's Sunday night as I record this. I know I'm a little bit late, but better late than never. So it'll likely be Monday morning by the time you're first watching this, so I'm still on the ball for this week. Anyway, this is my top 5 news segment, or in this case, it's going to be a top 7 because I got a few more big news items, which is why I'm still leery about if I want to call this section top 5. So if you got a better name for this news segment, then let me know in the comments. And maybe, hopefully by next week, I'll probably think of something new to call this. But anyway, we're gonna hop right into. There's some big announcements that came out this week. So just some stuff that was too big to condense into just 5 entries. So we're gonna hop right into it. But before I do that, hit that subscribe button and make sure you click that little bell icon. That way, you'll be the first to know when I put out a new video. Because like I said, I've been opening up the floodgates this past week, and I got some bunch of stuff on the way. You're definitely going to want to see it. Also, if you do subscribe, then let me know below, and I'll give you a shout out in the next video. How's that? So anyway, let's get started. Big news this week, first of all, is EA is finally bringing back college football. Huzzah! I know that's great news to the ears of many sports gamers out there, and myself included. So, basically, they're partnering with. So here is the press announcement. They're partnering with the CLC, which handles licensing for colleges, and they're going to create college football. And the new game will be featuring over 100 institutions, complete with logos, stadiums, and uniforms, and other stuff. So of course, one thing you'll notice is that they're not using the name NCAA, and that's probably to sidestep the big issue. Because if you remember, the last game that came out, the last college football game that came out was NCAA 14, and that was way back on the Xbox 360 and the PS3. What happened was there was a lawsuit about that was filed by a NCAA basketball player, and they were about their likeness being used without their permission, and that's always been a hot button topic when it comes to sports. Because the official rule is that student athletes within college sports can't profit from what they do. So obviously there's this big issue with them being depicted without them being paid for it. And personally, I think that they should be compensated for what they do, because it's like they're getting banged up, they're hustling and sweating, and it's like everybody else is profiting from that except for them. But I think as far as this way, as far as EA's approach, this is a good. So apparently, they're going to automatically generate the names and jersey numbers of the players for each team, like they used to do back in the day. So I think that's probably the preferred way to go for EA. It'll help. People won't have to worry about shelling out all that money, and they can just sidestep the issue. Although personally, I think, although I do would like to see student athletes get paid for what they do, or at least get some kind of stipend. I think that should be handled within the school system itself. But I think that if video game companies are going to profit off these players like this, then they should pay them. But anyway, enough of that. I'm still excited about this new college football game coming up. I can't wait to see what features it's going to have. And they haven't announced any systems for it, but I assume that it's going to be headed to current and next-gen systems. So let me know what you think in the comments. What do you want to see in the new game? Also, what do you think about student athletes getting paid for what they do? Now, I know people are going to say, they already get scholarships, but I say college is too expensive as it is, and that's like saying you shouldn't pay, if you hire somebody for a job, you shouldn't pay them because if you give them a bonus or some shit like that. But anyway, that's enough on that. Let's head on. Speaking of EA-related news, we learned some more stuff about the upcoming Mass Effect Legendary Edition, which is basically a remastered version of the original Mass Effect trilogy that's coming to, I believe, Xbox One and PlayStation 4 this May. So the game will obviously have enhanced graphics, and like most of the changes are going to be happening to Mass Effect 1, basically just quality of life stuff to get the gameplay more consistent with 2 and 3 and whatnot. So there will be expanded character creations and customization options, just gameplay updates and things like that. So like I said, just like quality of life stuff. Let me see if I can find an article about it. Browser viewing. Here it is. Everything we know about this is basically everything we know about the Mass Effect thing. And this is Washington Post. I think they charge for it, so. So of course they're going to include the extended cuts systems. The extended cut ending is going to be the official canon one. Because if you remember, like, there was this big controversy that people thought that the original ending was lacking, and so they released that big extended cut to like really fill in the blanks as to what happened after. So as far this is just basically a glorified remastering, so it's not gonna contain anything that wasn't in the original one, and all the updates, like I said before, are gonna be like quality of life stuff that's mostly gonna apply to Mass Effect 1. Now, 2 items that won't be making it into the game is the Pinnacle Station DLC. Reason being is that developers stated that the original code that they had for it is corrupted, or apparently, so like they would have to rebuild it from scratch if people wanted it, and that would cause them to have to delay the game a few months. Well, I do think it kind of sucks that this is being left out. It's really not that big of a loss to me, and maybe that's some, who knows, maybe they'll probably add it on later on, but like, it was simply a series like Time Trials that kind of like hinted at multiplayer in the original Mass Effects, and like, to me it really didn't just fit in there, but it kind of sucks though that it's not going to be in there. Now, another thing that won't be into the Mass Effect Legendary is the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. If you remember, like, you had to play that, basically you picked one character that you could unlock, and you played through a series of missions, and it was like a co-op for up to 4 players. It was actually a pretty fun game, and you had to play that several times to raise your galactic awareness score, and of course that is the big thing that affected your ending. So kind of and from what I'm hearing, it's still like you can still go back to the like original version of Mass Effect 3, like the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 versions, and still play the online stuff and still play the online multiplayer. So I guess there's that, but still it's kind of disappointing because the multiplayer from Mass Effect 3 was actually kind of fun, and it would kind of been pretty cool if like it probably would have worked as a standalone too. Like, of course I got to see EA throwing in microtransactions and whatnot, but it's kind of a bummer that's being left out of the game. But as far as the galactic awareness aspect, that's going to be rebalanced. That's going to be retooled and rebalanced to make it so that you can still get a good ending. All right, and moving on. So thirdly, EA has acquired Codemasters in what's proven to be a big week for the publisher. So they outbid Take-Two, who had came through with a tag of just under $1 billion to buy Codemasters for $1.2 billion. And while the merger is in the process of being finalized, EA is going. It's assumed that EA is going to be adding their racing games to their own stable of sports titles. So, if you don't know that, Codemasters established itself in the mid to late during the 80s, and I remember playing the old Dizzy games from them, Fantastic Adventures of Dizzy. They also put out games like Micro Machines, and going forward, they put out games like Overlord, Project Flashpoint. But in the past few years, they became more popular for racing games. World Rally Championship, Formula One, Dirt. What else? I'm trying to. Oh yeah, and also there's Project Cars too, which is probably their biggest recent game, biggest game from recent memory. So the word is that EA is trying to enhance its own stable of racing games, because as you know, they got Burnout and they got Need for Speed. They used to have NASCAR, and I want, and do they still have NASCAR? I wonder. EA, because I remember they put out those games. EA Sports and NASCAR. Apparently not, but with Codemasters being part of EA now, then they can probably have their development teams work on some of their racing titles like Need for Speed and maybe a new Burnout, or maybe even start doing NASCAR games again. And plus, also EA now has access to all these other franchises like Project Cars, F1. So, like, you know, their big thing is like monopolizing all the sports. So, and who knows, we can even see some of this stuff on EA Play, which is playable through Xbox Game Pass. So, like, there's a lot of there's a lot of different directions that they can take this in. But anyway, let me know what you think. Are you a fan of racing games, and what does this merger look like for you? Let me know in the comments. Speaking of big acquisitions, THQ Nordic now owns Gearbox, or more accurately, the Embracer Group, which is the parent company of Gearbox. They also own several other companies. They own THQ Nordic, Saber Interactive, Koch Media. So they own Gearbox now. And what's meant by Gearbox is they own the developer Gearbox as well as Gearbox Publishing, the publishing arm. So this merger was to the tune of $1.378 billion. Let's go back to the. Now, currently, as you know, the Gearbox is the developers behind the Borderlands series, which is owned by 2K. Now, of course, I believe 2K still now. 2K still now I think 2K still owns the Borderlands IP, and any future Borderlands games are going to be released under the Take-Two label, so there's still that. And not only does Gearbox develop Borderlands, they also put out Duke Nukem games like Duke Nukem Forever, the infamous Colonial Marines, and the recent PS5 exclusive Godfall. That's kind of ironic because THQ itself was actually a renamed was formerly known as Deep Silver, I believe. After the original THQ went bankrupt, Deep Silver picked up several of their franchises such as Saints Row and Red Faction, and a few years later they redubbed itself THQ Nordic, which I believe was probably just to have a more recognizable name. So now they own Gearbox, and who knows? Maybe Randy Pitchford actually act right this time. But hey, so we've been seeing a lot of these mergers and acquisitions lately. Microsoft has been buying up companies left and right. Also, Nintendo and Sony have been grabbing studios. We just saw EA merging with Codemasters, and now we got THQ Nordic merging with Gearbox. So, kind of interesting to see where things go next, like game developers consolidating to like make money and own IPs and put out new products. So again, let me know what you think in the comments, and let's move on to the next entry. So remember Stadia? Now, you know that streaming thing from Google that charges you $60 a pop for the rights to stream a game from their servers? Yeah, around the time they announced Stadia, they announced the formation of a studio, a first-party studio dedicated to making games for Stadia. And last week, Google announced that this first-party studio was shutting down. Yeah, so, and what's worse is that this studio is being shut down, and they never actually released a first-party game for the device. And this studio was also headed by Jade Raymond, who you might remember from working on the first few Assassin's Creed games were at Ubisoft, and she was also working at EA on a single-player Star Wars game that ended up being canceled. So now unfortunately, this talent is out of a job again. Does she have shitty luck or what? Now apparently there's still going to be third-party titles launching on the service, but at this point, I don't think anyone's really gonna care. I mean, you got stuff like GeForce now, you got Xbox Live, you got Xbox Game Pass cloud streaming, and this new stuff from Amazon Luna. So, I don't think. It's almost like 2 years since it's launched, and if it really hasn't popped off by now, then it's just not gonna work for Stadia. I mean, they might as well shut the whole thing down and just fall back and reevaluate like what they want to do as far as their approach to gaming. If they want to go in this streaming direction or just keep it with the mobile platforms they're doing. Circling back to video game football, well, in this case, mobile football. The NFL wants to increase its presence in the mobile gaming field. To that end, they partnered with esports platform Skills to host a game jam. So here it is. So basically, they want to work. Developers and studios are challenged to create an NFL-themed game with the Skills esports platform. And successful games will be supported by the NFL and Skills. So what exactly is Skills anyway? You're saying the most popular. Skills. Earn a living doing what you love. I think this is what they're talking about. Embrace your inner champion. Earn a living doing what you love. Okay, here it is. Future mobile esport, huh? Now, here's one thing I want to note. The game that you make cannot be a 11 versus 11 simulation game. Reason being is that EA has exclusive rights to it, to the dismay of millions of video game football fans. Also, as you know, 2K is partnering with the NFL to create arcade style games, which I think will probably suck. And nifty games on a new NFL mobile game called NFL Clash. What's this going to be like? This was like way back in April. Let's see if there's any new news on it. This is NFL Clash, which is apparently a mobile first football game. Ooh, it's already out. This was like a card game with NFL players. But yeah, if any developers out there, then you might want to look into this. Maybe you can create NFL Blitz Mobile or something like that, or I don't know, just something better than what EA's got. And finally, in an incredibly dick move on behalf of Warner Bros. Interactive, the company has copyrighted the Nemesis system from the Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor games. As you know, in Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor, if you can actually form like a rivalry with certain enemies. If they kill you, then they'll remember killing you, and there's also like a hierarchy among enemies. So at any time, like one enemy can usurp another and move up in rank depending on like their actions. Like if an enemy kills you, then they'll move up in rank. Also, enemies remember like if you wound an enemy, then they'll remember that, and you can also use this system like to recruit entries, and to me that's what really put the game over. But now Warner Bros. Now holds the trademark to Warner Bros. Now holds a trademark to that system, which kind of sucks. Now, to be fair, it's not that other developers can't develop a system that's similar to this, but they would have to put like a number of twists and changes into it to make it their own instead of simply copying what Warner Bros. Which I can kind of see that, but like the copyright, it's kind of a dick move because like if I'm developing something similar, but it's like not exactly like, or I'm not even trying to ape what they're doing, they can look at what I'm doing and sue me because they think that I am copying it, or like they just try to get some more money out of me because they can claim that I'm copying their trademark, which is bullshit. But yeah, I know like several other open world games that could benefit from something like this. Games like Assassin's Creed, The Division, maybe the new Grand Theft Auto, maybe like implementing something like this in like Crackdown or something like that. But again, it's not like that you can't use a similar system. You just have to put in that extra work to make it to really make it your own, and that's what you should be doing anyway as a game developer. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments again. So that's this week's top 7. Thanks for joining me. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I know I keep saying that throughout the video, but I like hearing what my viewers have to say. Speaking of which, I know a lot of you are viewing these videos. The vast majority of you aren't subscribed, but you should be. So hit that subscribe button, click the little bell icon. That way you'll be the first to know when I put out a new video. Also, if you do subscribe this time, then let me know in the comments below, and I'll give you a shout out in the next video. And again, if you like what you just saw, click that thumbs up icon. Share this video with your friends and see what they think. So that's it. I'll be back next week, Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon. So I got some stuff that I'm working on. I got another gaming archaeology that's actually about a game, but it's more about it's also something about the company that made the game. I haven't done a retro feature in a while, so this is definitely going to be a first. And also this past weekend, I played several demos from the Steam Game Festival. So you can view the replays on Twitch, but I'll be posting them to YouTube throughout the week. So definitely be on the lookout for those. And I got some more stuff on the way. So again, like, subscribe, comment, and until next time, I'm Audi 51000G, kinfolk.